Hello everyone, it's Marybeth, and today I'm going to walk you through how you can track expenses in Materio. There are a few ways you would do that depending on the expense, so we're going to dive into what those are and how you can track those. The first place that you are going to track an expense is going to be a purchase order. And as you know, this is a way for you to track orders and track the expenses or bill payments on those purchase orders. So in order to do that, you're going to go to the selections tab over here on the left and then purchase orders on the top right. Come down to the item that you want to track a receipt for, and you're going to click record an order that I already placed. So if you're tracking an expense from a website that you purchased, you're not actually sending a PO to the vendor. This is the flow that you're going to go through. And you're going to come in and you're going to attach the receipt here and click record order. And when you do that, it's going to pull up that receipt over here on the right so that you can verify what it is that you actually spent. So for this one, I actually ended up spending $26.70, and then there was $200 of shipping. So I want to update this here to make sure that I've got it estimated. And then I want to come in and click track payment. If you are connected to QuickBooks Online and you want this to reconcile with your banking feed, go ahead and select the payment method. These are only going to show up if you are connected, but select that so that you can reconcile those transactions automatically and you don't have to do anything manual. So I'm going to save that payment and then confirm it. And that will move this over to fully paid and tracked. So again, this is going to track the payment that you have made against this item. This is the tracking an order you already made versus sending a PO to a vendor flow. This is going to create an expense for this item. If we head over to our finances tab and then we go down, let's find sofa here. You'll see that the item has been paid for. You can see the cost of the item and the shipping, and then it looks like I am in the negative because I haven't collected money yet from my client. So this is where the expenses will show up, and this is where the payment from your client will show up. So that's how you would log an expense to one or more items using the purchase order workflow. Now, the second place that you can track an expense is going to be on this finances tab, and then if you click on expenses. This is where your purchase orders will show up as listed expenses. If they're syncing to QuickBooks, there's a link right here where you can open them, but you also might have miscellaneous expenses that aren't going through the purchase order workflow. So in that case, you can come down and click new expense. And so this might be the delivery for the sofa because it was shipped to my receiver and now I need the receiver to actually deliver it to the job site or to the project site. I would go ahead and add this expense in. So we're going to say delivery. We're going to say it was with the Amex, the date. I might put in vendor information here. Now I'm going to also upload a receipt here for the delivery. It's not going to be as side by side like the purchase order. We'll probably add that in eventually. But for now, what I would do is say, okay, this was for furniture. This was for the sofa. This was for the installation of the sofa, and then the amount. And so you might want to click on this PDF, look at the amount here. So mine was $132. So I'm going to save that in. So I'm going to save that against that item as an expense. Now, if we go back over to the overview section and we look for that sofa item, you'll see that now it has increased because I've added additional labor to that, which was the delivery. So that is how I could account for the expenses against this item. And then if you want to get into how you actually collect payment on those expenses, there are a few ways to do that. Typically in Materio, you're going to be invoicing for itemized scope. So I'm actually going to go to the furniture and do the sofa next, and I would do 100%. So of course, in this instance, you are billing for the entire thing plus your markup, and that is where you will see payment made. So I'm going to apply payment actually from a retainer just so that I send this over for reference. All right, so now that's paid. I just want to show you what it actually looks like when you pay for that. So now that I have the item paid for by my firm, those are the expenses. I have invoiced my client and accepted payment on that. You can see here that I have collected a certain amount of tax and I have made a certain amount of profit on that item. So that is how the expenses balance out with getting paid. And those are the places that you can track expenses. We didn't cover how time is also an expense, and that's going to show up here in your expense dashboard. But generally speaking, when you're trying to track the expenses against the scope of work in your items, those are the two ways that you can do it right now. That is going to be, again, tracking a purchase order or tracking a miscellaneous expense that can or cannot be itemized. If you have any questions about how to sort of allocate funds or track your finances in Materio, you can always reach out to us at hello@materio.co or live chat us from the app.